A very good afternoon to all the panelists and the attendees on the different forums. I'm your host, Aman Agarwal. Wish you a very warm welcome at World Hospitality Expo 2022 Day 4. World Hospitality Expo is India's largest hospitality event scheduled to be held over 5 days. Today is the fourth day, where we'll be showcasing new products, offerings, unparalleled expertise, and limitless networking opportunities. The event focuses on exchange of new development and the future of HoReCa sector in India. The world hospitality is firmly focused on arrival of new and cutting-edge technology used in commercial kitchen equipment sector, food and drink vending solutions, hotel and commercial cooking equipment, and beverage machinery. Thank you each and everyone for being here with us today. We hope you all are safe and fine. Today marks our first World Hospitality Expo, and we are proud to be able to host it virtually because of your all's grace. And before we get started, I would like to thank Aajjo.com, which is leading online B2B marketplace for business products and services. Without taking much time, we'll proceed to our session, which is on the topic Experience by HOTREMAI. It's delivered by the team HOTREMAI, where our speakers are Mr. Parag Singhal, Mr. B. Rajesh Nair, Mr. Hirdesh Tyagi, Mr. Sanjay Dhingra, Mr. Atul Gupta, Mr. Anil Malhotra, Mr. Arun Mittal, and Miss Madhuri Saha. Ms. Madhuri Saha is founder and managing director of IMCM Private Limited and has been a part of almost every project the company has achieved. She has over 28 years of experience in hospitality industry, having the expertise in quality, surveying, and cost management. Mr. Parag Singhal is the CEO of Solutions Incorporated. He has over 24 years of experience in project management. He has expertise in managing construction projects for hospitality, commercial, retail, and corporate organization. He has also been part of many prestigious projects like the Oberoi, Trident, Hilton, Marriott, Grand Hyatt, Park Hyatt, Radisson, Park Plaza, and more. I really doubt if any other big group is left after this, Paragji. Mr. B. Rajesh Nair is the founder and CMD of Convenient Construction Consulting Private Limited. He founded the company 11 years ago to provide the best consulting services in the construction business. Mr. B. Rajesh Nair has over 30 years of experience and is an engineering professional who has worked hard in his career and achieved leadership role in Central India's leading retail real estate company. Mr. Hirdesh Tyagi is principal consultant at Adara Hospitality. He is currently working with Marriott, Katra, and Radisson Blu Jammu Hotels as Director of Engineering. Mr. Hirdesh Tyagi has over 12 years of experience in hospitality industry as an engineer. In his years of working in the hospitality industry, he has successfully opened 3 hotels associated as chief engineer. Mr. Sanjay Dhingra is the director and CEO of Albergo Project Private Limited, New Delhi, has over 30 years of experience in hospitality business and has been a part of many large operations like Holiday Inn, Amritsar, Savoy's Food Services Apartments, Sector 16 Noida, Taj Wilderness Resort, Bhagwan Bench near Nagpur, Taj Mahal Palace Hotel refurbishment, Jacob Road, Jaipur, Lemon Tree Hotel, Sector 29, Gurgaon. Mr. Atul Gupta is a consultant at RRA Project Management Private Limited, Gurgaon, Haryana. He has over 20 years of experience in consulting business. RRA Project Management Private Limited provides service in the area of project planning, monitoring, information system, quality surveying, contracts, contract administration, site coordination, supervision, and quality control. Mr. Anil Malhotra is the president of HOTREMAI and managing director of HSMC Asia. He has over 40 years of experience in hospitality industry in various fields. In his working years, Mr. Anil Malhotra has worked in Austria, Switzerland, and Germany. And after that, he came back to India to work with Taj Group of Hotels. He has been part of HSMC for almost 30 years. Mr. Arun Mittal is the Joint Secretary of HOTREMAI and a business analyst and MD at Prestair Systems L.L.P. He has a massive experience of 37 years and expertise in his field. Prestair Systems was established in 1982 and is located in Noida with staff of over 125 employees offering its expertise. So here onwards, we are expecting very insightful session from you all panelists, and all of our attendees are waiting. So over to all the speakers. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I think you have done most of my part already. Thank you. I really wish to thank you very much. let me introduce to you my co-host, Mr. Arun Mittal. And Mittal Saab will now tell the panel as well as the members of HOTREMAI and other guests that we have online what HOTREMAI actually stands for. Mittal Saab, over to you, please.
I think Mittal Saab, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Mittal Saab, आप mute पे हैं. आप mute पे हैं अभी. Mittal Saab, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. You see, HOTREMAI was established in 1982, and it's a registered firm, which is registered in Act 1994. And this is HOTREMAI is, you can say, it's a leading association renewed for the hotel and establishment, equipment manufacturer, supplier, service provider. This is a non-political firm and non-profitable. This is, you can say, we are the main promoter of HOTREMAI. HOTREMAI is main promoter of our Adara from long time. And one more exhibition, it's Indian International Expo. Moreover, that can Mr. Anil will tell you about that.
Thank you very much, Mittal Saab. To add, you can tell how we coordinate with the offices of hotels and other associates to help them with the requirements that they normally have in the industry. We help them also by keeping them abreast with what is happening in the commercial space, and we are associated very closely with FICCI, with ASSOCHEM and other bodies, and we take the representations of our members onto these bodies wherever and whenever required. Plus, what all is happening in the commercial world, we keep our members abreast, of the situation. What are the new policies of the government? How we can help them during, as Mittalji had mentioned, there are so many fairs. And as a matter of fact, later on in HOTREMAI, we started about little before the pandemic, the Experium part of it.
Yeah. That is the
now
main
I will just show you a very small, brief 1-minute view of what really is HOTREMAI. So if you'll stay with me, and you can see this film. Can all of you hear this?
Yeah.
The customer knows more. The customer needs more. The business is changing. The way we do business
Sorry to
is
interrupt,
changing.
Mr. Anilji. You need to share the screen where video is going. So all we can see is the video file names and not the screen on which video is played. So on clicking share screen, you need to select the window where video is playing, the window media player which you are using.
So, Anilji, stop sharing the screen and then share the screen once the video is on. Yeah. First you do stop share. Yeah.
Okay. Is this okay now?
अरे खुशी को नीचे भेज दो यार.
Anilji, you need to share screen, and while clicking on share screen, you need to select the window media player on which video is playing. In that case, only we would be able to see the video, or else you can directly select the screen where everything going on the screen would be visible to us.
Okay, now I have already stopped doing that. Can you can you now hear me and see me?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so having spoken about HOTREMAI, then I will tell you a little bit about the Experium and what we have in the Experium, you know. Can you now see the Experium video?
No.
Mr. Anilji, I'll guide you. Please click on share screen.
I did.
Yeah, there you have to select the window media player on which video is going to play, or you can simply select the current to the entire screen, the first option. Yes, now you can play the video.
Is it seeing now?
Yes, yes. But again, video is not open. So you need to play the video so that we can see if video is playing or not.
Okay, let me actually stop this and
First play the video, stop it, and then select the same window like you did now.
no, it's okay, not required. We will come back to our so let me explain. You can hear me and see me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so I think I will come down to the to our discussion, and as I have invited many project management company heads over here, so we will under our Experium, we normally interact with a lot of people from the industry under certain heads. And Experium 2 years ago, we had started with inviting all the general managers of hotels in and around Delhi, where we, told them how we are starting this particular program, which will be helpful both to the hotels as well as from the other sides to the members of the HOTREMAI. And under Experium today, I'm very, very delighted to have, project management company heads here, where we will start our discussion and request them to come up and explain to our worthy members over here and the people who are seeing today what really a project management company is, what it does, and how it helps various people in the industry to to help hotel owners do what they need to do in starting of the hotel. So to start off with, I'll request Mr. Atul Gupta to very briefly come up and explain to our viewers how the project management company works and how we, help the hotel owners get to what they really are looking for in their hotel. Over to you, Atulji.
Yeah, thank you, Anil. Morning, everyone. So, everyone can see my screen?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, briefly about me, I am a graduate architect from MITS Gwalior, and I did my specialization in building engineering and management from SPA, New Delhi. And thereafter, I have been associated with Adara Project Management, and I am an associate director. I have more than 22 years of experience in this field. So briefly about my company, Mr. Rajesh Rishi is the managing director with over 28 years of experience. And we have a team of about 70 engineers and managers working with RRA. Just to briefly, a few projects in hospitality that we have done. Notable one is Savoy Masuri. We were involved in the restoration of this property in the phase 1. This is another project in Chandni Chowk, again, restoration work of Haveli. It is being run by ITC Heritage as an ITC Heritage property. There's another hotel, boutique hotel in Gurgaon. These are some of our notable projects. I'll quickly flip. We do a lot of high-end townhouses and farmhouses projects also. So coming to the point, why do we need a project manager? Typically, you know, when an ownership or a client approaches an architect, okay, the role of an architect per se is, as per this slide, he's a creative head of the project and he envisions the whole project. His primary duty is aesthetics, taking care of the aesthetics, functionality, sustainability. While a client's expectation is this, where he expects drawings, he expects the architect to do the contractor selection, negotiation, and they expect him to also coordinate the site activities, look at the quality, resolve the site conflicts, which typically an architectural firm does not specialize in. I mean, their primary focus is on the vision of the project, in the functionality, in the aesthetics. So this is where the PMC specialization comes. This part is taken care of by the PMC firms. And the primary role of an architect remains as it is. Now, project management is based on the primary principles of time, cost, and quality. I think this is where the ownerships and the client need most help. So we'll come to this little later. Basically, when we say cost, means, you know, it has to be done at the cheapest price. It has to be done to the highest quality standard, and it has to be done quickly. So how do we achieve, as a project management firm, how do we contribute in achieving these three objectives of a project? Apart from time, cost, and quality, other support knowledge areas that a PMC firm typically takes care of is design, coordination, contract management, scope management, procurement management, and sustainability management. So we'll discuss on the procurement and scope management in detail in this presentation. This broadly tells under various knowledge areas what all can be done by a PMC firm. I will not go too much into detail of this. I'll just flip. So one typical question is, when should a PMC enter the project? We feel it should be as soon as possible. The sooner, the better. Typically, in Indian scenario, this is how a PMC is structured, you know, role of PMC is structured, wherein the client appoints the architect first, and then when the basic designs and the costings are done and the project reaches the tender stage, at that point, the PMC firms are appointed. Whereas this is the ideal situation, which is an international practice. PMC should be appointed at the inception stage of the project. This way, we also are able to monitor and control the deliverables of the design team, and which is a critical element in managing the time, the inception time of the project at the beginning. So in normally this is how the flow of information happens. The PMC and the architect, all the information which is generated at the architect's office is routed through the PMC, and then down below it goes to the various contracting organizations, vendors, and specialists who deliver the project.
Mr. Gupta, could you also briefly tell us, the role of specialization of the PMC, where I will also come to others, then have their views also on it. If you can just wrap that up, please.
Yeah. So this is our specialization. What we feel in a typical high-end fit out like a hospitality project, we typically divide it into 4 stages: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. The stage 1 is what we call as most dirty phase of the project, which generates a lot of dust. So we package all the works that have to be done in that stage 1. The stage 2 is a little bit more cleaner stage, wherein all the internal glass works, vanity works, stone fixing, etc. happens. In the stage 3, the final furnishings, the fine-tuning of the services, the commissioning of the services, etc. is done in a clean environment. And stage 4 is where we soft run the finished room or a project. We run all the MAP services, de-snag, all the snags that occur during this phase, and then we hand over the project. So to organize this, I'll skip this. We break down the project into various smaller packages. Now this gives 2 advantages to the client. One is he is able to reduce the cost by reaching to the last specialist contractor. So let's say a POP guy or a stone guy. Typically, when you award a work to a GC, he would go to these guys only, and there'll be a markup on that. So we in our practice, we try to manage the project with multiple smaller contracts. Since PMC is on board, the onus of coordination comes to the PMC, which generally a GC does. While GC charges a markup of 20%, PMC comes with a man-month fee, which is substantially lower than that 20% markup. So this is one advantage. Second is we achieve better quality because we are able to handpick all these specialized trades, and we are not dependent on the GC as to who these guys would be. They generally award these works to labor contractors, and they arrange the material. So the desired quality is not achieved. This is what we feel. So we go to these specialist contractors, directly negotiate with them, define the scope of work, and get the work executed.
Yeah, thank you, Atul, for your eye-opening, fairly detailed explanation. See, I would like to be generic here, and would like to tell all the listeners and people who are here with us today that how difficult it must have been for PMCs to actually, come of age and tell the ownership that, look, I am a specialist and you hire me. So I think it all starts with the costing of it. And now let me come to Madhuri and ask her that how from the costing part does she tell the ownership that, look, this is what I bring on the table for you. So Madhuri, can you tell us more on that, please? Madhuri?
I think Madhuri is not there.
Okay. Let me come to Mr. Tyagi. Tyagi Saab, as we say that, you are a specialist here, and you have, already gone to the hotel owner. So can you tell us that how do you prove yourself to the hotel owner to hire you as a PMC? What are the various points?
First of all, Mr. Gupta, very good morning to all of the panelists. And we are very thankful to HOTREMAI, to provide that platform where we can associate to each and everyone at a single platform. Right now, it's very difficult to communicate to a single person by individually, but you provided us that platform where we, interacting to each other with the various owners, various vendors. So we are very thankful to HOTREMAI to provide that platform to us. So Mr. Gupta,
you're welcome.
Thank you. So Mr. Gupta, basically I want to add that it's very difficult to convince the owner. First question, as Atul also told, that they always tell that why we should hire a PMC. And India is a very basic culture that they want basically the mostly owner have lots of money from the basically the industry, from the flats and all these things. And some owners come the different background. So they thought that we can easily develop a hotel with the help of contractors. So it is the big mistake they thought. And once they start to stuck up in the project in the initial stage, then they realize that PMC is required and some professionals are the required for the completion of the hotel. So it is basically as a owner contract to the architect also to design the hotel. Basically they have expertise, and they contract to run the hotel also to the various management company as a Marriott, Hilton, Accor, Radisson, because they have expertise to run the operations. So, and the same scenario, PMC also have an expertise to build up that particular hotel or mall or some different infrastructure. So it is very very basically mandatory to hire a PMC.
You've gone mute.
Hirdesh, you have gone mute.
You've gone mute.
Hirdesh, we can't hear you.
Yeah, so basically that owner can have a expertise in one particular field or experience of a single building and 2 building and 3 building. That's it. But yeah, PMC always deals with the n numbers of project, n numbers of the owners, n numbers of brand. So they have an expertise of the brand standards also, and they have a lots of n number of vendor who have a specialized in their particular field. Owner can't be have a numbers of vendors, can't be have a complete specialization of the each and individual field of the hotels and other commercial buildings the malls and hospitals, because it's the vast experience required in this particular field. Because if you talk about the hotels, so you require a kitchen vendor also, you require a HVAC vendor also, you require a IT also, you require a civil contractor also, you require an interior also. So it's a very difficult to get a perfect.
So Hirdesh, at this point, I want to ask you one more question. Is it the bigger hotel person, the owner, who takes your services, or do you also now are in a position to actually even offer your services to, let's say, a hotel owner who's doing a 40-50 room hotel also?
It is required to as everyone. Either it is a 50 room hotels or it is a 200 room hotels, because the basic infrastructure is required for 50 room also and 200 room also, and even 400 also. So it is required to everyone. IT setup is required for the 40 rooms hotels also. You required technical infrastructure also, including electrical, HVAC, water treatments, interior, civil construction. Everything is required in a smaller hotel also. So PMC is required each and every steps to complete that hotel with perfection. So for that particular to complete those brand standard, complete with your work with the proper specification which was given by the consultant or your designer. For that, PMC is required. For the owner, it's very difficult to understand each and every field of the hotels and of the other infrastructure also. So PMC is a medium where you can get a specialization with the single company who can help you to build up your as a building with the completion, with the as a fulfill a brand standard also, completing a brand specification which was given by the your architect, your consultant. So that's why PMC is nowadays a very as a mandatory for these products, because
okay. Thank you, Hirdesh. I'll come back to you a little while. Let me get across to Madhuri. Madhuri, good morning and welcome. We were talking about, do you really always convince the owner from the cost point of view that how you're going to bring him, reduced costs on the table, or do you do anything else, to prove yourself to the owner? Would you like to tell us something on that, please?
So, good morning, everyone. So as far as the cost of any project, I mean, it's not only for a hospitality project, for any project nowadays, cost is a very prior thing and very important aspect. I mean, this luxurious period of spending anything and everything is no more there. But besides, so it's not a convincing. Normally, I do not convince the client that yes, I have some expertise who can actually reduce the cost of the project. Rather, I do convince them that I have the expertise who can actually give you what is the right price. Okay, the right price is the main thing to commit to someone, not something which is below the right price, not something which is above of the right price. And secondly, cost management is primarily, it's not a magical stick where we can actually, if something is 100 rupees, I have a magical stick, so I can make it 80. No, I convince them how you can control your cost. Is primarily controlling the cost to give him the right data from the market, what the right price should be, how the quantification should be, so that you cannot enter into a situations where the quantity has been exceeded and all that. And thirdly, to get the right information on right time. Say for giving an example, when the structure work is going on, so I keep on giving them those data. Okay, structure you have already overboard by, say for example, 5%, and then you have the entire project, and so that you have the opportunity to cut down the cost by doing some value engineering. If you don't get the information on right time, so at the stage of 80% of the project completion, if you get to know you are already over budgeted or you are already overspent, you do not have any opportunity to save the cost or cut down the cost. So these are the two things primarily I try to convince the client, and they do convince, because it is, we have established that situation after completing almost 100 plus project. As far as the hotels are concerned, we have completed 100 plus hotels projects, not only all over India, even internationally. We did in Bhutan, that too also, resort like 6 Senses. And then we did project in Dushanbe, we did project in Dubai. So we have that expertise to put the right cost across the table.
Okay, thank you, Madhuri. Let me go over to Mr. Nair. Rajesh ji, good morning, and you've been very patiently listening to all of us. What is your take on the new age, let's say, hotel owner who is essentially, today the land bank is actually with more with the you can say the people who are already into real estate. So when it comes to that, where a real estate person does think that he already is into that gamut for so many years, and how will a PMC will be teaching me more about saving costs or bringing in his specialization? So does it get more difficult explaining to such an ownership? I would like your views on that, please.
Yes, rightly, it's a good question you asked. As you rightly said, it is tough for a very developed real estate to make his mind to employ a PMC, as they already are in the real estate field. They have done enough of projects, they have their own team, and they firmly believe that they have the competency to build a hotel, even if they have never done a hotel developments. It becomes very tough to convince them. And of course, as far as the cost analysis is concerned, they would say that they would definitely come out saying that, yeah, we've done so many projects and we know what the costings can be as far as the civil structure is concerned, or on procurement of high side materials. And of course, they would definitely have an advantage. I wouldn't say no, because when they've done so many multiple projects, they would have. But at the same time, it becomes difficult for them to execute a hotel, or for that matter, any specialized project. Leave about a hotel, even a hospital. Hospital is also as critical as a hotel. Maybe the finishings are not as important, but of course the engineering services are much more critical than in a hotel. So when they want to venture into such projects, they convincing them to get a PMC on board becomes tough, and you should have the ability to make them analyze why the requirement of a PMC is there. And rightly, as Mr. Atul Gupta said, most of the well-established real estate players or the newcomers into the field, generally the trend is they don't get PMC on board first. PMC at the most of the time is the last agency to come on board just before the construction starts. By which time, as Madhuri said, a lot of designing would have been done, lot of decisions would have been taken, and at that juncture to go back to the drawing stage and redo, it becomes tough. And even to prove that there is something wrong, something value addition can be done, becomes tough because the time is running out. They would have brought the operators on board. They have a timeline. They would have tied a debt. At times they would have a JV. So the problem remains whether it's an established player or a newcomer to convince a PMC on board. And especially with the established players and developers, it's very tough, and it's not easy. You have to make your way through, convince them how you can handle this project, these specialized projects, whether it's a hospital or a hotel or a shopping mall or an IT park, a data center. These are all very, very technically, highly technically incentive projects where multiple consultants have to be on board, has to be coordinated. Probably even the established players may not have the required manpower on board to understand all this. For them, it could be just a simple building, but it's more than that. So as we all know, that it's tough to convince even the established players on this. Yes, I hope that's what you meant.
Anil, on mute, please.
Anilji?
Sorry. So today, as a PMC, you've already, made a mark. I remember, I think, if I'm not wrong, this thing probably drifted from the overseas market, and gradually the hotel owners, decided that, that they should actually employ PMCs. And I remember very initially there were a few US companies who would actually come only taking care of, only a part of the project. And thereafter, many, Indian companies also graduated into that. Let me come to Mr. Parag Singhal. Paragji, I wish to ask you that over the years, how do you feel your journey has been, and has it become a part of life now that when a hotel project starts, that the hotel owner actually approaches a PMC, and life has become more easier now?
See, I think
your experience.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, I started off by my first hotel was, the Grand Hyatt in Vasant Kunj, which was a 400-room property. And at that time, I was the project coordinator there, and very closely associated with Mr. Saraf and everybody else. And but over the years, then after that, I did the Park Hyatt Goa, and thereafter I started my own company, this Solutions Inc. And coming to your question, you see what happens is that yes, I mean it is a difficult scenario, and but at the same time, I would say that the owners have realized the importance of PMCs, even the established players. For example, I mean, let me not name them. I've done the Trident and the Oberoi's also in Hyderabad, which is again a huge property, almost 16 lakh square feet of area. Mr. Oberoi is an established person. I mean, he's an established company. He's an established hotelier. But even then, I mean, I was the PMC there. I had a team of 15, 16 engineers there who were, installed there. So what I'm trying to say is that it has been difficult. The journey has been difficult. But over the years, people have realized, the builders, the promoters, the entrepreneurs have realized the importance of a PMC, and they give due weightage to them. I mean, I would absolutely say they're very happy while appointing a PMC. It does take some time to convince them, but it's all a matter of word of mouth. It transfers from one project to the other. Once you show them that you've done these kind of projects, you've saved so much of money, you save so much of time. So you have to convince them, and they get convinced, because everybody, I would say, the second generation of all those entrepreneurs or those landowners are more into it. The earlier generation, sorry to say that, probably were more conservative, but with the new generation coming in, with all those builders, things have changed. So it has improved and is for the betterment, and for the, it is good for the industry that they have seasoned professionals who can handle their project, because hotels, any hospitality project is a very, very complex project. You have more than 13, 14 consultants, you have more than 40 agencies working there, you have more than 1,000 labor working on any project. It's a big gamble altogether. It's a big gambit. So once they know somebody that there's, okay, Parag or Solutions Inc. or any other PMC company is the sole, he's answerable for everyone, and he's a single point of contact who is managing the entire show, be it consultants, contractors, vendors, procurement items, owner supplied items, everything is there. So it's a huge task which has to be done. Another point which I would like to make, that why they should appoint a PMC, why they should hire a PMC, is that if they hire, the question always comes, the owner would say, if I hire my own staff, so what is it? I can do it on my own. I hire an experienced general manager who's done a couple of hotels, and I hire a team below him, and it will happen. So at that point of time, we need to tell them that, again, the engineers might come and go, the general managers might come and go, but with a PMC company, that backup or that continuity of the job or the continuity of the entire project is not lost anywhere.
Right.
And we are actually, as a PMC, we take up fights with everyone, for that matter, be it architects, be it consultants, be it contractors. We always take the beating from them, because we are always telling them, this is not right. You are not giving us the drawings. You're not performing well. You're not doing this. You're not doing. So we actually end up being the most criticized person on the site. So it's like
the devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate, like a kaanto ka wo hota hai, like mukut. This is like that. So we are here, we're wearing a crown which is full of thorns. So, and at the end of the day, the moment the operations comes in and it's handed over, we are forgotten. Nobody, we are no longer there. Even if you have to take a room, we'll have to pay it and then buy the room. So that's the kind of scenario. But that's part of the game. So we started enjoying it. And now, with almost 25, 26 years of experience in this, hospitality and project management, I would say It has gone into our blood now. So, I mean, if I'm visiting any hotel, or if I go back home, then I would, my mind would always work. Ye theek nahi chal raha, wo aise nahi ho raha, the curtain is not proper, this and that. So that project management goes inside the house also somewhere, to the kids also, to the wives also, everywhere. So it's gone into our bloods, and it is a very, very painful and a very very tasking. Very, very tasking.
Okay, let me now go to Sanjay. Sanjay, I'm sorry that I'm coming to you a little late. Let me ask you, Sanjay, and when it comes to specialization, you think that the owner today is convinced that he has left everything on to the specialist, and thereafter he's rest assured? Paragji just said very rightly that with the new age owner, it is becoming kind of easier for him, or this is his experience, to convince? Is it because of the fact that they are more well versed with today's going ons? Is it the internet that has made them more aware? Is it that they travel more? What is your experience on it? We'd like to hear from you.
Well, there are all kinds of owners, and most of them do want your expertise, but they do their own groundwork, and they have many advisors who are, out of the blue, and the owners' advisors are hundreds, and they listen to everyone, and most of them are, very, I would say, Khan ka kacha. So they are most of them, and that's another big area which we have to fight against. That they every Tom, Dick, and Harry becomes their advisor, and then they question you on all your expertise. So yes, there are some people who once once satisfied, they just agree with whatever you are deciding, but that's probably 20-30%. So it's a daily task for owners to be convinced that you have to.
Sanjay, can I ask you one thing? Very incognito. Who is always the interior decorator in a project?
So we try to keep owners' wives out of the picture as much as possible as we can. And who are, they have this tag.
I was talking between the lines. You have spilled the cat out of the bag.
I mean, there's nothing to hide here. So no mincing of words. But that's where, yes, intelligent designers can be ladies, no problem. But they are most of the time. But once but if that is your only qualification, that creates a lot of trouble. And the changes and the whims and desires and the ever-changing, evolving design thoughts, that also creates a huge issues in particularly the hospitality sector here, because at the time when the project is conceptualized from the design standpoint, and by the time it is closer to completion, so much of time has passed, and by then so many design trends have changed, so it starts looking dated. That's also another big issue.
I will go back to Atul. Atul, when the project actually revolves around time frames where the PMC is supposed to perform vis-a-vis the time. But when we are looking at the Indian scenario, sometimes when it comes to the various licenses, which is a never-ending process. So how do you, define that mix to the ownership right at the beginning, that you are not a part of the licenses? I'm sure you must be doing that, because if it gets delayed because of the licenses, then you are not to be held responsible. So do you define that with the ownership at times, or how does it go? Please explain.
So when you say licenses, you mean licenses for running the operations of the hotel? Or is it related to the building permissions?
Building purposes.
Well, actually, all these permissions put together, whether it is the green, permission, whether it is the police, whether it is the, completion certificate, whether it is, so what are the parts that you, take the onus on, and what is it that you leave to the ownership?
So as a PMC service, we don't do any licensing works, and I am sure no PMC would do. But with our experience of doing building projects, we do know what all approvals are required at what stage, and we do advise our clients, on appointment of a suitable licensing agency who would help them out, and we kind of help them coordinate the whole process of getting the sanctions or completions. About the police, local, be transport, all that, NGT for that matter, we try to build those costs into the main civil contractor scope as to, they need to, kind of take care of those expenses during the construction.
Okay, let me ask Sanjay. Sanjay, do you do it differently than what Atul has said, or is it more or less the same thinking?
In terms of advising the owners on the licensing front, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
Is it a part of your
no,
offerings, or is it left out?
No. We advise them that these are the things which are long lead, and it would require so much of special expertise to look after those subjects. But we stay out of the licensing with the authorities, or getting them the licenses. Some things, yes, become part of the contract, like fire. So we at times have electrical contractor getting the electrical approvals, lift agency getting the lift approvals, fire contractor getting the fire NOCs. So to that extent, we are involved, but otherwise, no. Particularly most of the operational part, definitely no. But yes, we do liaison with the municipal architect for the FAR free areas, service areas, etc., and heights, just to understand and coordinate between the principal architect and the municipal architect better, or the pre-approvals. To some extent we do, but not till the end.
What happens,
Mr. Nair, in your very vast experience in number of years and number of customers, have you ever also come across customers where they have defined that if you do not do this project in time, then this is the consequences for the PMC? Have you ever had that kind of an experience also?
Yes, absolutely. But it's very, it's not very common. But of course, we've come across some clients and some projects where there was some sort of a penalty, but subject to the delays, subjected to certain conditions. If the pay, most of these projects, the issues are normally such projects. I think all the panelists would some sort of agree that most of these projects come into financial problems due to debt funding falling short, or probably they had not planned the financials, although they knew the cost of the project, but they never thought that they would not have had a plan B if plan A didn't work.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt, Mr. Nair, but a very important question actually, which I had in mind also, was that some of the projects, when they are never ending, in the sense that, like you said, okay, we came across, we have not even mentioned that word. I don't want to, but COVID. Now, yeah. So everything got elongated. So, as a PMC, do you define your your services over a period of time, or how do you do that, please?
Absolutely. We define the project over a period of time with certain conditions, saying that of course now almost all our new proposals and new engagements go with this COVID lockdown period clause, which goes into, other than the regular clause of non-payment to the contractors, non-payment to certain consultants, because see, project management, project management is what is project management. They're basically outsourced project managers. Instead of their in-house, they are taking the expertise of an outside agency, as Mr. Atul said. The in-house team will not have the expertise to always conduct the specific sectorial projects like a hospitality or a healthcare or a industrial, such kind of projects. That's where the project managers come in. So at the starting itself, of course, when costing, as Madhuri said, costing is one of the important things. At the same time, project timelines are very important. But the project timeline is linked not only to the project managers. It is most of the time, it's one is the financial, and probably lot of changes coming in the duration of the project. Like, I would say Sanjay said, some family member has seen something and they start interfering in changing the design at a stage when we are rushing towards the completion. Or for that matter, even some brand standards changing over a course of time. When a project, most projects you envisage is 3 years or 4 years, but they end up getting completed in 6 to 7 years. By that time, even brand standards would have changed. So then there would be delay in getting those brand standards corrected, and of course there's a cost to it, which was never planned at the initial time, and the projects come to a shutdown. And in such cases, it becomes very difficult for a project management company to take the pinch at all times. To a certain extent, we are flexible, but I don't think it's possible always. But we've come across such projects where we've been told, the project delay, and the owner will never accept the project delays because of a fund, even if it is so. I think most of us would have faced it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nair. Okay. Well, like I said, this time I am going to be the devil's advocate, and I'm bringing in, a very senior member of ours from HOTREMAI, Mr. Vijay Wagnu, whom I'm going to ask about his experience. He has worked with many PMCs, and I want him to ask, what are the kind of problems or smooth goings that you have with the PMCs? Please don't take us wrong, but there are certain times when we as vendors also have problems. So over to Mr. Wagnu with your question, please.
So apologies to intervene. Before Mr. Vijay Wagnu continues, I would like to introduce him. Mr. Vijay Wagnu is chairman of Wang Professionals Private Limited, a pan-India company operating under 2 verticals. One is the turnkey project addressing kitchen and laundry equipment, and second is retail of kitchen and laundry equipment. Over to you, Mr. Vijay Wagnu ji.
On the panel. See, the point is, we as people, we are many of our members are from the kitchen, laundry, and related fields, So our interaction does not normally tend to happen with the PMCs as such, but it happens with the individual consultants who are involved in the project management, So my point comes is, which I thought I should be not sharing, but asking, from people who are there on the panel, is how much are you willing to compromise with the owners who are pressurizing you all the time on the cost versus quality? Can any of you can answer this question? My point is that at one time, at one end is the cost, which owner wants to keep it minimum, while at the other end he wants the high quality. We are also put to the same. Because in many of our situations, the specifications which are given to us are the top grade, When it comes to finally sitting down and discussing and negotiating, then we are asked to do value additions, I don't know whether this word is familiar with you. It's called value addition, Value engineering, sorry, not value addition, value engineering. Now this engineering word has been brought in to give it a little bit of respect, but basically it amounts to bringing down the cost, but at the same time he wants to retain the good brands, good quality. So how do we manage it? Is there any situation that you walk away from the project if you feel that he is going beyond certain level?
No, I
Would
think
you like to answer that?
In that case, what happens is that we actually do a very healthy competition. Okay. So what happens is in the competition is that you have 5-6 vendors who are, giving quoting for the same kind of job with the same specifications for the same tender. And in that case, we negotiate with them. We sort of do some sort of value engineering in terms of the specifications, where the specifications can be lowered for certain equipments, may not be for all. Can you hear me? So,
yeah, now we can.
So what happens is that, by way of value engineering comes in where, certain items where the specifications can be lowered, certain items you cannot lower them. So a balance has to be made. And that balance is a very, very difficult task. And it involves the consultants also, it involves the client also, it involves the vendors also. Because at times the vendors also give a very good inputs on the change of specifications to reduce the cost. So ultimately, we have to convince the owner also and the consultants also and the vendor also, and to make them come at the same platform that yes, we can reduce the cost, and by way of healthy competition between vendors, we are able to bring it to a value which the client wants. And ultimately, see, none of the projects have stopped till now. What happens is sooner or later, thoda negotiation zyada hota hai, you have further rounds of negotiations, and it finally settles down to something or the other. So it is done. So that is the way it happens. So, but it is a very delicate question and it is a very delicate thing, but it is always sorted out at the end of the day.
But in your experience, did you come across a situation where you finally decided to move out of the project because
never,
issues were not being adhered to?
Never, Vangu sir, never.
Vangu sir, that is expected from you if you don't.
Let me put this in a slightly different format also, what Mr. Wagnu has said. When it comes to brand standards, you see, after all, as a PMC and also sometimes as a vendor, we know the brand standards for certain brands that who are asking us to quote and giving them, because in their own vertical, there are so many brands per se, So at that point of time, what is the kind of compromise that the ownership asks you, and what is the percentage of variance, I would ask, that you still allow in a project and you convince the owner to go in for?
See, what happens?
Is my question clear?
Yeah, the question is clear. See, what happens is it is more so with the brand. Whenever there is a compromise on the brand standards, so you have to convince the brand. So now maybe, for example, the interior design head of any brand has struck down to something that I want only this, for example. I will not change the specification. I want this only. So in that case, we have to convince the head of the interiors or the heads of the the IT guy or the FLS guy or the other persons. We have to convince them that okay, out of these maybe 50 brand standards that you want, we need a waiver for example 5 or 10 of those items, but 40 we still have to follow, because otherwise the brand will not function. I mean, their standards we cannot compromise. So there is always a negotiation which happens with the brand. So maybe I would say 10%, 20% of the things we are able to justify or clarify or on the behalf of the client, and convince the brand that you please agree to us, get us a waiver from your international head offices or whatever. But otherwise 80% of things, 70% of things we still have to follow, and we have to fall in line.
Mr. Singhal, while choosing the specific consultants for different types of specialized work, how much role PMC plays?
So we play a very important role. See, what happens is if we are taken on board at the conceptual stage itself, then it is very, very beneficial for the client, because maximum savings in terms of the cost or other things can happen at the design board. And selecting the right person, the right consultant for the job is very, very important. So we always give a list of 5 consultants for each work to the client. We tell them this is the kind of fees, this is the kind of works they have done. This fellow would be giving in more time. He will just not leave it to his consultants to do it, or his draftsmen to sort of do cut, copy, paste, and just do a software this thing analysis, and it is done. So any consultant who applies his mind, who takes pain in the project, will always be very, very helpful, and he will always do a very optimal kind of a design. Otherwise, if you simply, there are all softwares available for all designs now, simply punch in the figures, punch in the numbers, and the design would come out. But that doesn't help. It doesn't reduce the cost at all. So
sorry, I'm just coming in between. I'm taking this question a little bit further. I'm saying between PMC and let's say the chain, how do you come to a decision in taking the consultants? Who are the 5 consultants you will be working with?
So see, for any brand, they are most pinch point or the pain point is the interior designer. So architects, MEP consultants, kitchen consultants also to some extent, but otherwise architects, MEP consultants, they are not too much fussy about. But the ID part of it is the biggest pain point, and for that we need to actually pick up from their lists only, and then sort of negotiate with them that who can do at a right costing, because all the big brands have international designers with them, so it is very very difficult for for the owner to pay an X plus X or an X square or X cube amount to rather than paying to an Indian interior designer. So ID is the only thing which is most critical. Rest is all manageable.
Okay, I would like to ask the panel once again a kind of a candid question. When it comes to the priorities that are given by you by the ownership, what are the first 5 priorities that he defines to you? If it is not very, secretive, can you tell us? Maybe Madhuri would like to say. I think cost must be one of them. On the very top of the list.
Always. At least nowadays. Anyway, so besides, I will answer you back this question later on, but I was listening from everyone, though I'm not a full-fledged project, I'm not running a full-fledged project management organization, but we do take up project management also sometimes, but precisely and selectively. My first offer, but rather I would say first condition with a client while I am taking a project as a project management project, I do tell them, look, this is your project. You are the owner. You are most welcome every time to come to site, visit. But till the project completion, I am the person who will be taking any decision. I do not want any interference, neither the client, neither the designer, neither anybody else into the project. If that conditions is agreeable to you, then only I'm in for the project management, because project management mera prior list mein nahi aata, so I can rule that. And whenever the clients are agreeing, okay, you are the person, you are a Royal Bengal Tigress, so handle the project, we are not interfering, then only I enter as a project management to the project. But besides that, forget about how clients are dealing, how clients are demanding, what contractors are doing. We, all the consultants, need to understand we also have drawbacks. And the primary drawbacks in Indian consultants are, if we have to do 100% of the work, we do our scope of work only 20%, and we do interfere in others' scope of work 80%. That's where the problem starts. A project manager, a cost management company interferes into design, a designer interferes into the supervision, and the project managers interferes into the cost management. We all do everything. So that's where the major problem with the consultants, we do not restrict ourselves only to our scope of work precisely. So वो हमें एक बारी stop करना पड़ेगा. I believe that let's understand our own problem first rather than discussing other people's problem. And okay, PMC is not really properly understood by the developer in India so far, because they do understand it's just a security guard supply. You take the responsibility, you are answerable, but you do not have the power. So you don't have the authority, but you have the responsibility. That they need to understand that responsibility will only come along with the authority, otherwise not. And the third and the major problem, that we always keep on, haath joding wale thing hoga, we will do everything. Yes, sir. We have to stop that. Yes, sir. So it's no more yes, sir. They came to us to give the project. We have never gone to them asking you what project you are coming up with. Please give me the project. No. So let's value that. So these are the very small things. If we become that rigid, then we can handle the project in a better way. And project management, so he also said we are always sitting on a hot chair, just because that a project management company can be successful if other performs. Our success is depending on somebody else's performance. So that's the most difficult thing. You can drive yourself to do perform better, but you can drive others to do perform better.
That is what
anyway,
we are
that's where the problem is.
We are responsible for others' performances,
But you don't have the authority.
We don't have
always, you always come on the board once that the major selections and everything has already been done.
So what happens is
So
that
that's where the problem is.
what we do is that we draft the contracts of all the consultants. We make their payment schedules in such a way that they need to perform, and the bill certification is done by us only. So that is the only way we can control them. I'm talking about
You won't believe, we completed a hospital project as a project management and cost management. We told the client, look, all the checks of the consultant, of the contractor has to come to my office. You are nobody to give the checks to them. You are only supposed to sign the check. That's all.
This we do in all our projects. Yeah.
Those are some tools. Anyway, let's come to the priority while a client is asking us to handle a project. Nowadays, it is coming. There is a difference. One is a commercial project. One is for personal use. If somebody is creating their own head office, say for example, their cost is not a prior one because they are building their own home. They are very flexible to spend money. The moment it is a commercial project, then the cost part comes at the top. And design, I mean, with all due respect, I did a very big googly. There was an international interior designer. I'm not taking the name, even I'm not taking the project name. She was very rigid on some materials, even on the curtain and all that. I need this international brand to be used. We were asking them, look, there's a budget constraint, we can go for alternate, but she was not agreeing. So when we created 2 mock-up, the last day I said, just do one thing. The first mock-up, which was with the original brand, name it as the alternate one. And the second one, which was actually the alternate one, name that mock-up as this is with the original one. But those are looking same. And believe me, the interior designer selected the second one, which is actually not the original one. So sometimes interior designers also very rigid, very fussy about certain product or certain brand, which should not be. If there is a huge loss on the specifications, then it's fine. Or otherwise, we should not be. Sometimes we need to understand that somebody else's pocket are getting, it's not always a deep pocket. The cost is a prime thing. And second is the performances. When you were selecting somebody as a consultant, as a contractor, who will be ensuring their performances? That's the second one. Time, yes, it's important, but the client also is aware of it. Some or the other way they are contributing on the delays. They know, but they will not tell because they are client. They know very well. For that, you have a delay register process. Create the delay register, keep on sending them. You have delayed the project by 1 month, not by paying or not by giving the decisions. So these are the 3 prior things a client always asks.
Okay, thank you, Madhuri. Thank you for enlightening us on some very candid points. Last but not the least, I think we are heading towards the end of our seminar. Learnings from COVID. How have we changed ourselves? We will quickly, I'll request each of the panelists, in two minutes or so, just if you will just sum up. We'll start with Hirdesh ji. Hirdesh ji, what are the learnings and how have you implemented them, into your setup and learnings from COVID? Please. Thank you.
Basically, in the COVID, there is very good learning. So it improved the work style. Basically, if you say a positives of the COVID, right now, just as an example, we are the coordinating each and everyone and discussing where we are having a very fruitful discussion on without going to the office, without visiting to a place. So it is the major, you can say, the learning from the COVID. So now it's a very in the trend, we can have a con call or webinar on the Zoom or the Teams. So it is a great learning. So we can take a decision very easily, even with during the projects also we can connect immediately with the brands and the consultant and the owners at the same platform. So it is a work style is implemented in India. Earlier, what was happened? There was a owner or brands insist to visit the individual place or individual property. So that time it was like the limitation to the dates. So sometime branch and was the corporate team was not available to visit. Sometime consultant was not available to visit. So this is the like the good thing, and some bad things also. In the COVID, there is so many newcomers are also comes in the industry as a vendor. So they like as we were discussing during the last cost and all these things, and Mr. Banglu said that sometimes cost is come in between in the ownership and the PMC. So there is no way to save the cost. As Madhuri said that there is only we can like get a good cost for that particular product. If for a particular product with the like as a right specification which were defined by the brands or by the consultant, if it is cost it's like the 100 rupees, then it should be 100 rupees. It should be not like the 150, and it can't become in the like the 80 rupees also.
Absolutely.
If someone is quoting 80 rupees, then something is fishy, that you are compromising with some specific, you are diluting something, you are like making fool to someone. So it's happened basically. Some vendor directly goes to owner and come with the like, sir, I can do this in the like 1 rupees only, but actually it's not possible. So that things also happen in nowadays. So it is a very like as a difficult situation. And owner as one of the panelists says that Kanga Kacha, they goes to everyone. Right, so this is a very difficult situation. Even our when we also entertain those kind of people, I think vendors are also there, so they should like stop to those kind of people, those are who are doing trading. Like Mr. Banglu is like in industry time, so he is doing so many products for the hotels in the kitchen, in the locks and the other things also, right? So we should also stop entertaining those kind of trading people who are like the doing marketing for them and going to the hotels and selling the same product which are doing by the Banglu also. So these things supposed to be stopped. So to like avoid miscommunication between like the consultant, PMC or the owners. They are the person who misguide to the owner, and it is a big difficult nowadays difficulty in the industry basically to convince the owner.
Okay, I'll go to Sanjay. Sanjay, any learnings post-COVID that you would want to stay within the industry, and how are you coping up with it?
Yeah, so the learning, as Hirdesh said very rightly, that
We lost you. Can't hear. We can't hear.
No, I think his probably his
Yes.
internet.
Otherwise, for professionals, it has
Okay, he's
become
back.
I'm sorry. Did I?
We can't hear you.
Yeah, we lost you in between, but we can hear you now. Please carry on.
So I'm saying it does save cost to the owner to some extent in terms of making all arrangements. Time saving is also there, but the otherwise it has put restrictions on the material management or the manufacturing aspects. Things have got delayed due to COVID. Lots and lots of stuff which was to very easy to organize overseas. Now it's very difficult. The container freights have really gone up. Things are difficult to obtain from overseas market. The chip shortage or the there's so many other constraints which have come up definitely because of COVID, and the project's overall timelines have got extended. So that in that way the project's cost overruns have been there. The metals have got so much costlier. So these are the huge impacts cost. For professionals, it is fine that you are saving time and you are getting your decisions faster, but that's a very small
small cost
advantage. Yeah, that's a small cost. Bigger impact is the time overruns and the overall material procurement cost overruns, which nobody would have factored in while making any financial projections and the cost of completion. That's a huge impact, and the people who are already in the some advanced stage of construction, they are going ahead. New ones are still very edgy and cagey to start because banks have really tightened up their screws. They are asking for revised financial projections to the hotel owners. They are not getting the loans which were earlier kind of committed. So we have, mix of
Absolutely.
that is definitely impacting.
I think Malhotra Sahab, besides what Mr. Dhingra has said, the other major impact or the learning of the COVID has been labor. The labor has become a major challenge.
इसका soap dispenser हमारी जैसा आपका ये है.
Can everybody be on mute, please?
इसी वाली.
So the labor has become a major challenge after post-COVID or during COVID also, because the pandemic has not ended as now. So the labor movement from UP, Bihar, Orissa, and all these places, the government has given them enough incentives at their hometown, so they're not moving out from there. So that has been a major impact. So the learning from that is that we have actually gone in for alternate methods of constructions. So from the RCC structures, in one of the projects, the second hostel that we are starting up is in MS structure. So we have, made it less labor intensive and more factory, intensive projects. So that major works or major fabrication happens in the factory and less work at the site, because labor is a major challenge nowadays also, and it will be the challenge in the future also. Because COVID will come and go, it will keep coming and going. So that is what the major, another impact which has been there because of COVID, and that also has been taken care of in few of our projects. So we are trying to convince the clients to go for alternate methodologies of construction to reduce the labor requirements at the site.
I am very happy to also, invite Mr. Nirmal Khanderwal, who is also online with us. Nirmalji, we are discussing, our learnings from COVID. Would you like to say a few words on that, please?
Thank you, Anilji. Good afternoon to everyone, the eminent panelists, and we have learned a lot from all of you. PMCs are one of the worst situations they are in. They have to please so many people together. One side, the owner who has hired them, and other side, at least 25 different agencies in terms of architect, designers, consultants, electrical, audio, visual, and so forth. However, they still do a very wonderful job, and it is a necessary evil for any project. However, to your question, Anilji, the pandemic has undoubtedly affected the entire world, and the hotel projects are in a very big dilemma. The PMCs are doing a very wonderful job by taking care of the present situations which have been emerged during the pandemic. The price escalation is one of them. I don't know how the projects are handling it and how they are able to convince and ask for additional budgets, as one of the panelists mentioned that the cost has gone up because of the freight and because of the international material cost, which has happened undoubtedly in last about 14 months. It is a wonderful expertise they have, that they are able to convince everyone, including, apart from the owner, the consultant and the other interior designers and architect, to still maintain the same cost, to use a little alternate products. So the acceleration is not to the extent which would be on the paper, but in practical, it will almost be the same as planned earlier. I don't know whether what I'm saying is right. I am not a PMC, but what is my experience with the projects is, after doing about 700,000-800,000 projects in this country, yes, the alternates are available, which may be specified by the brand standard or by the designer or by the architect. This is a time to look into that. There are so much new innovation in last 3-4 years in different product lines, because of the new technologies which have emerged, has reduced the cost, has increased the efficiency,
And this is the right time to look into the complete Pandara box of the products, so that in future, you will be in a better position to even convince at the initial stage that somehow or the other you can still control the project cost in a better way than anybody who is non-professional as PMC. As everybody just mentioned that the owner thinks that they know everything, the owner family thing or their friends think that they can advise and they can get away with it. But the professional attitude by the PMCs and professional responsibilities they have, undoubtedly, it is a necessary evil for any project to have a PMC. I will only say that. And they will be able to do justice to the entire situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nirmalji. Thank you for your words. And I wish to now thank all my members here for sparing your time and giving us an insight on the project management teams and under what conditions you work, and how you've made changes with keeping the the current situation in mind. And we all look forward to all the projects which were on a go slow or had stopped. Hopefully, should we say, was it the third wave? And as one of my colleagues here said, this will come and go, but I think our projects will keep on going. And let's hope and pray to God that we have all this behind us, and what we see is the end of the tunnel, and we see the light over there, which is going to be good for all of us, and more so for the industry. The tourism would come back to normal and actually will bounce back like never before. We are all looking towards that, and look forward to happy days. Thank you very much for being here.
Anilji, if you see Taj Hotel Group's IHCL, they have earned during this COVID period 65% more.
Yes,
So
it was announced this morning only. Yes, I saw that.
Particularly in the third quarter, which was the revival from the COVID.
Right.
The resort properties, basically.
Because they went and concentrated on the on the leisure properties, and not the main ABC cities. They left.
Projects are
they went up
moving
on the
faster
hills
nowadays.
and the sea. Yes,
Projects are moving faster. Just because of that, we all are scared कि फिर से lockdown आ जाएगा. So let's do it quickly.
Yes,
Those are actually moving faster.
So don't worry, all of us are there with you, and let's do it faster also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all the panelists. But before concluding, I would like to play the video which we have for the HOTREMAI to showcase the contribution.
Okay, last but not the least, thank you very much. Please play it. Thank you.
Hospitality, restaurant and catering.
Thank you.